this video in the hopes to save you time and money in your pursuit to drive a modified 4x4 truck. I'm going to give you my 3 best pieces of advice after owning 33 vehicles and about 20 of them being old Toyota pickups similar to this one here. If I had known what I know now, it's likely I could have saved up enough money to have a down payment for a house based on how much money I've spent modifying that truck right there. It's crazy to think how much money has been nickeled and dimed out of my bank account for not having the clarity and foresight to know what I want and execute on it. So my first piece of advice is get super clear on what exactly you want and what you're going to want. If you're starting out from scratch and you want to end up with a truck that's, built on 40s, locked front and rear as a cage and everything, then that's awesome. If you want to start out and just have a simple modified rig on 33s with or without a locker that you could just go camping, that's awesome too. But you have to know what you want, because if you don't, then you end up like me when you continually modify a vehicle over 3 years and you just watch your bank account drain because you end up replacing things that you thought were going to be good enough or you thought that you wanted, and then you try things out and you find out that, oh, that actually doesn't work, or actually I need something better or bigger. Usually guys will go out and buy, especially Toyota, they go out and buy the cheapest Toyota they can, put 33s on it, wheel the piss out of it, and then they decide, oh, I want 35, so then they put 35s on it, and then later they decide like, oh, I want to put lockers in it, so they put lockers in it, and then they're like, crap, I really want a solid axle, and then they put a solid axle in it and run 35s, and like, oh, I really need 40s, oh, so then they get 40s, and then they break stuff, and they're like, oh, I really need to upgrade my axles and put a cage on it. And if you had just started with the end in mind, if you had just started knowing, okay, like, I want to get into rock crawling, I want to have a truck like this that can take me these places, that can do these things, then you could have saved yourself time, save yourself the headache, save yourself the money in all that expense. And that's what I did, and that's what I want you to avoid if you can. After you got super clear about what you want, there's 2 things that you can do, really, the way I see it. You can buy something that's already built, or you can save up and build it yourself. So let's talk about buying something that's already built. Buying something already built has its benefits. The biggest being you're going to save so much money. When you build a rock crawler, you're never going to get your financial and sweat equity investment back when you sell it. It's just never the case. You'll see people trying to do it on Facebook Marketplace, so they have a truck like mine and they're trying to sell it for 30 grand because that's how much money I have into it. It's never going to happen. Don't buy that vehicle. It's great to buy something that's already built because you're going to save money and you're going to likely get a lot of great parts if you know what to look for. I picked up this rig for $4,500. It was on 38s. It had dual transfer cases. It had a welded rear diff, and it had a front bumper. That's pretty much all the mods that it had. It wasn't geared, didn't have locker in the front, it was a welded diff, didn't have a locker in the rear, didn't have much armor. So I'll go over later in the video all the money that I've put into that thing and things I had to modify and why it turned out to be so expensive. But I bought it semi-built, basically, is what I'm saying. It already had the solid axle swap, so I did save a bit of money there. However, if I had saved up a little bit more money, if I had, saved up like 6 or 7 grand, I could have bought something that was already fully built and saved myself a ton of money. So there's huge benefits to buying something that's already built, especially if you're not a fabricator and you don't plan to be a fabricator and you just want to get out on the trails. That's the other pro, is you buy something and you can likely go wheeling that day or that weekend. The major con that I see with buying something built is obviously you don't get to say that you built it. And that's kind of an ego thing and maybe an authenticity thing to some people. I'm kind of on the fence about it, where it's like, I want to drive whatever's going to take me where I want to go. If I can buy something that I'm going to be able to have fun, go out with my friends, try new trails, learn new things about myself and my truck and nature, then like, that's awesome. I don't really care if I bought it or I built it. Like, I'm having fun. And that's kind of how I think a lot of us should think. But there is a lot of pride and love and enjoyment that goes into building something of your own. So when you buy something built, you don't get to say you built it. And the other con is you might end up with a ton of problems, because if you don't know what you're looking for, or you accidentally buy a lemon and you didn't really check it over, you could end up with a host of problems. So you really need to know what you're looking at and what you're looking for. when you're buying something already built, because likely if it's a wheeler, if it's a rock crawler like this, it's been used. Not necessarily abused, but it's definitely been used. Like, I wouldn't say my truck has been abused per se, but it's definitely been used. You know, I've put almost 40,000 kilometers on it in the last 2 years. I've gone wheeling over 50 times in it. You really need to think about that. Has the maintenance been up, and all those, you know, kind of basic things you buy when you buy a used vehicle. It's going to be 10 times more if you're buying a wheeler or rock crawler. Now, building something yourself has huge benefits, but it also has some significant cons. The biggest con being if you don't know how to fabricate, you don't have the skills or the shop or the tools, which is kind of where I've been at in the last few years, or at least before I got this truck. I didn't have, you know, the know-how or the shop space or the tools to do my own solid axle swap, or even pay somebody else to do it. So that's why I bought something semi-built. But if you do have the means, or best if you have somebody who can teach you, or a friend that's done it, it's a lot of fun. It's so much fun being able to take a stock truck and put your heart and soul and your love into it. My biggest piece of advice if you're going to build something is please start with the end in mind. Start with the end in mind. Think about exactly what you want and save up as much as you can to do it right from the beginning. Because if you kind of half-ass it and cheap out in a bunch of ways, it's going to end up costing you more money. If you know you want to have an LS and 1-tons and you want to bounce up rocks and just pin it up hills and go absolutely crazy and not have to worry about anything breaking, then yeah, you're going to probably need Dana 60s and 40s and a Dana transfer case, Atlas transfer case even, and like really strong diffs. You know, if you're going to put Yoda axles, or if you're a Jeep guy, you're going to put like Dana 30s or something under it, like you're going to break stuff, and you're going to cost yourself so much more money and time replacing parts after going out and breaking them. So just start with the end in mind if you're going to build something from scratch. Obviously, the biggest con to building something yourself is it takes a lot of time, and it takes a much more significant investment. For a truck that you could find on a used market for 5 to 10 grand, you're going to spend 10 to 15, even 20 grand building it yourself. There are exceptions, obviously, if you're really good at scavenging off Marketplace and Craigslist. If you're a great fabricator and you can build a lot of the mounts and brackets and parts yourself, those are obviously the exceptions. But I'm talking to like the general audience here. So if you're going to build something, start with the end in mind. The other piece of advice, which I think kind of bridges the gap here, and kind of something I've tried to apply to my builds over the years, is if you're trying to save up to get something better, to get something you really want, you still want to go wheeling, you still want to get out on the trails, get the cheapest possible option. Go with the cheapest possible thing that will get you by while you save up for the best parts to build what you want or to buy what you want. I find the middle ground is very dissatisfying, because if you kind of put like half your money in and you're kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and you know, you kind of get, let's say you get a truck with like 35s and one locker, but all your friends have like double lockers and 37s, and you just, you know, want to go a little bit more, but you don't have enough money to get like a full build going. It's gonna suck ultimately, because you're gonna break stuff. You're gonna be the guy holding up the pack. So go with the cheapest option. I have had so much fun wheeling stock trucks. So that's my last piece of advice. If you can't afford to build a rig or buy a rig, save up and wheel the piss out of a stock vehicle. Years ago, I bought a Suzuki Sidekick for $1,100. It had no lift. It had 33 by 10.5 BFGs on it. It had a welded rear diff. And as Shauna would say, it's the most fun you could have with your pants on. I didn't care about body damage. I didn't care if I broke anything. I just wheeled the hell out of it. And it was so much fun. Great little rig. It never let me down. I never even turned a wrench on it. It was crazy. I know it's getting harder and harder to find, even sub $2,000 vehicle that's going to have any capability, but they're out there. You know, chuck the ego out the window, get something cheap, weld up the diffs, find some cheap mud terrains, and go wheel the piss out of it. You're going to have way more fun than if you try and slowly modify your daily driver to be able to like get out on the trails. And that's the biggest problem that I've had with this truck, is it has like this weird identity crisis, because I didn't start with the end in mind, and this truck has tried to fill so many roles. It's tried to be a camper, an overlander, rock crawler, and ultimately it just has an identity crisis, because I don't get to do the super hard trails that I want, because it's such a clean truck and I'm terrified of like actually beating the crap out of the body panels. And I mean, yeah, it does great on the highway. It's not a bad overlander. It's not, but I mean, was it built for that? No, it's built like a rock crawler, but I take it overlanding, you know, drive it thousands of kilometers on road trips. And ultimately, I do really appreciate that. I appreciate having a rig that can kind of do it all. It's funny, I was looking back in my journals from years ago, and about 5 years ago I wrote in my journal I wanted a Toyota 4x4 that had lockers front and rear, had 35s, and got 20 miles to the gallon. 3 years later, I actually ended up with that truck, and it's on 37s. I get almost 20 miles to the gallon. I have done it a few times. It's usually about 18, 19. It's locked front and rear. It's more built than I could ask for, and you know, it takes me camping. It takes me everywhere I want to go. But I don't get to do everything I want in it because I'm too afraid of beating it up. So to recap, if you're gonna buy a rig, buy a super built rig. Save up, scour the marketplace, buy a super built rig. If you're gonna build a rig, save up as much as you can and do it right the first time. Build it as far as you can, as built as you will ultimately want it to be the first time around. At least do your best. That's my advice, is build it as built as you can right from the beginning. It'll save you money, it'll save you time. Might seem like it'll cost you more money in the beginning, but over the long term, it's gonna save you money. And in the interim, buy a cheap wheeler. Go buy a stock Pathfinder, a stock Cherokee, stock Foreigner, Sidekick even, and go beat the crap out of it. Find a cheap rig and just wheel it. It's so much fun when you actually don't care about your body panels. You just bounce off rev limiter, and it's a great freaking time. Also, just have clarity about what you want. Spend some time thinking. Go out in the woods by yourself if you need to, but think about exactly what you want to do. You know, look on Instagram, look at the people who have rigs that you want, where they go. Like, think about what kind of driving you want to do. If you really want to get into rock crawling or mudding, like, think about what those rigs have that you're going to need, and then either look for that rig on marketplace and, you know, plan it out. Get out a piece of paper, write some pros and cons, write what the upfront cost will be, or the cost if you just like build it piece by piece over time. I just want to save you guys money. I want to save you guys time. I want to get you out on the trail. I want to inspire you to build the best rig you can, or buy the best rig you can, and go out and explore, go out and test your limits. I've spent so much freaking money on this truck, and I love it. I absolutely love this truck and everything it does, where it's taking me, but it's still not where I want it to be. You know, I've probably got another $3,000 or $4,000 to put into this thing to get it as built as I want it to be. And you know, if I had just started with the end in mind, had clarity, and got it done at the beginning, then we wouldn't be having this conversation. Anyways, guys, that was my rambling. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got some value out of it. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or other advice or experiences that you've had building trucks or buying trucks. And, you know, if you want to hear more from me, then let me know in the comments. If you like this style of video, if you like hearing a guy ramble about his truck and his experiences, then let me know. I want to make content that you guys enjoy watching. So let me know in the comments.